When life hurts, some say don't complain, don't cry, endure. But that's not enough. You gotta mean it. You gotta own it. And when you do, that's what we call the Stoic way. Life's gonna hurt you. It always does. That's unavoidable. What's unavoidable is pain. It's unavoidable. You're going to get sick. You're going to lose people. Life will break your heart. It will break your plans. It will make fools of you. So the question is, when life knocks you down, how do you get back up? Or put another way, what do you do when life hurts? Well, the Stoics had a few ideas about that. If you don't know them, they were some of the wisest people who ever lived. They include the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, the Greek philosopher Epictetus, and the Roman philosopher Seneca. Together, they taught millions how to think so that they could endure whatever life threw at them. And if you adopt their thinking, you can be prepared for when life inevitably hurts you. What is Stoicism? Stoicism is an ancient philosophy born in ancient Greece and refined in ancient Rome. A way of thinking that trains the mind to remain unshaken even while the world around you is falling apart. And its most famous practitioners were Epicurus, the Greek philosopher who wrote the Enchiridion, or the Manual, which is one of my favorite books of all time. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, who wrote Meditations, a book that he wrote for himself, but that has endured for 2,000 years. And Seneca, the Roman philosopher and statesman who wrote Letters from a Stoic. They taught that the secret to happiness is not avoiding pain or pleasure, but changing the way you respond to it. And they gave us 4 pieces of advice for how to do that. I've written 2 books on Stoicism. My newest is called The Obstacle is the Way, and it's coming out in September. And so today I want to share with you the first piece of Stoic wisdom for getting through suffering. And it's this: control what you can, accept what you cannot. What does that mean? Well, let's imagine, God forbid, you are getting a root canal. Now, you don't like getting a root canal, but you need to get a root canal. It's important for your health. Here's what's within your control, whether you clench your jaw or whether you take a deep breath. Here's what's not within your control: that the dentist drill is making a horrible noise, that the dentist is incompetent or drunk or whatever, that you might pass out, that the tooth might break. Now, if you focus on what's not within your control, you'll probably start to panic. You'll probably clench your jaw, and that's just going to make the root canal worse. But if you focus on what is within your control, then you can endure the situation. This is where Stoicism begins. It's starting with the simple recognition that we don't actually control many things. We do not control other people. We do not control the weather. We do not control what happens to us. All we control is what we say and what we do. Once you understand that, once you internalize that, then you can take a big load off. Why? Because when you realize that you only control yourself, you stop blaming others for what happens to you. You stop hoping that the world will change, and you get on with what you can actually do. And now let me tell you the second piece of advice. When life hurts, when the storm comes, remember this: pain is not evil unless you make it so. What do I mean by that? Well, nothing is actually evil. There are no evil people, no evil situations, no evil thoughts. Evil is the judgment you place on people, situations, and thoughts. For example, when the coronavirus pandemic was raging and people were dying left and right, one person said, "This is the worst thing that has ever happened." Another person said, "This is the greatest opportunity I've ever seen." Both people were correct. Both people were wrong. The situation was neither good nor bad. It simply was. Your judgment of it, however, determined your experience of it. In other words, pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. Which brings me to the third piece of advice. When life hurts, don't project your pain onto others. Remember, emotions are responses, not truths. Let me say it again. Emotions are responses, not truths. So when something happens that you don't like, you don't have to believe that it's the end of the world. You don't have to believe that you'll never recover. You don't have to believe that you'll die of shame or embarrassment. These are just emotions, not facts. And here's why that's important. When you experience something painful, your first reaction may be to want to lash out, to blame someone else, to feel sorry for yourself. But when you recognize that emotions are just that, emotions, not objective truths, then you can step back from them, look at them more clearly, and ultimately choose how to respond to them. And that is truly empowering. So when life hurts, endure. When life breaks your plans, adapt. When life tries to beat you down, get back up. Don't let it knock you out. When life hurts, be a rock. Be the lighthouse. Be the steady flame in the darkness. That's the second thing Stoicism teaches us. Which brings me to the fourth point. When life hurts, hold the line. No one is coming to save you. You are your own hero. That's what a Stoic realizes when they practice Stoicism. You find out that you are strong enough to handle anything. You don't need anybody else's permission to be successful. You don't need anyone else to make you happy. You don't need anyone else to complete you. You are whole unto yourself. And so you should act accordingly. This is why Stoicism is so powerful. When the world falls apart, when life hurts, when everything seems to be going wrong, it tells you to hold the line, to stay true to yourself, to trust in your ability to get through it, to get by on your own wits, to be resourceful, to be courageous, to be resilient. But maybe that's too much to ask. Maybe having to be the hero all the time is too much pressure. Maybe we're asking too much of ourselves by demanding that we be strong all the time. And this leads me to the fifth point, which is optional, but I wanted to share it with you anyway. And it's the limits of Stoic endurance. What happens when you keep putting off your happiness, when you keep telling yourself that it doesn't matter, that it's not that big of a deal, that you can get through it, that you don't need anybody else's help? Doesn't that eventually lead to numbness? Doesn't that eventually turn you into a cold, dead person who feels nothing? Well, yes, it does. But here's the key, it's not supposed to be a permanent state. A Stoic is someone who endures, who gets through hard times, but then comes out the other side stronger, wiser, more resourceful. Yes, there are costs to being Stoic. There are costs to emotional restraint, but there are also costs to unbridled emotion. So the Stoics simply aim for the middle path, the golden mean. And I think that's actually a very wise approach. So when life hurts, when the storm comes, when you find yourself suffering, remember these 5 things. 1. Control what you can, accept what you cannot. 2. Pain is not evil unless you make it so. 3. Emotions are responses, not truths. 4. When the world falls apart, hold the line. No one is coming to save you. You are your own hero. And 5. It's okay to be broken. Just don't stay there. When life hurts, endure. Do not complain. Do not break. Be the rock in the storm. That's the Stoic way. Thank you for watching this video. I'm the author of The Obstacle is the Way and Daily Stoic. And if you want to continue to learn Stoic philosophy, we've got 2 more videos you can watch right now.